Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kojo here, and today I want to talk to you about sensitivity inside of Counter-Strike Global Offensive and what you should be using to be most comfortable and to get the best results out of your game. Now, before we get into it, guys, I want to point out that sensitivity is not as easy and straightforward as it goes. And there's going to be a lot of factors that determine what you should be using. And at the end of the day, it is totally personal preference for every single person. And everyone is going to want to play on something slightly different. And that's perfectly okay. At the end of the day, you need to find what you are most comfortable with. And I'm just going to give you some guidelines that should be helpful for you to kind of understand as you try to pick out what sensitivity is going to work out best for you. Now, before we get into the video, I have a message from the sponsor of today's video. Hey guys, make sure to check out CSGO Net. On CSGO Net, you can play with upgrades, trade-ups, and of course, so many different cases with extremely cool drops inside. Here's an example of one of the cases. I unboxed a pair of Shadow Daggers Doppler for huge profit. I also used their upgrade feature to get an M4A1S skin that I love while making profit with it. Withdrawing on the site is extremely easy. Simply go to your profile, find the skin that you want, and click Claim. So guys, if you want to play on CSGO Net, they have so many options on how to deposit. If you use code CoJoMo, you will get a 40% bonus to your deposit. That is insane. For those of you lucky enough, there's a limited code CoJo that will get you a 100% bonus on your deposit. Link to CSGO Net will be in the description. Alright guys, now let's get into the details of sensitivity. Right, so one thing you need to realize right away within Counter-Strike Global Offensive is that you're going to have two separate kind of categories, right? One is you're going to have this in-game sensitivity, which you can find here on keyboard and mouse. Right here, as you can see, mouse sensitivity, zoom sensitivity, this kind of thing. That is your in-game sensitivity, right? This is what is going to show up inside of Counter-Strike, but just as importantly is also your DPI, right? And your DPI is actually what's going to be your mouse's sensitivity, right? And the most standard DPIs are 400, 800, and 1600. Those are generally what almost every single professional player plays on. And your DPI is going to be like how fast your mouse is moving even outside of Counter-Strike, right? Even outside of the game, anywhere, it's going to be how fast that is, right? So what we do is we actually, in order to get our total sensitivity, it's actually called our edpi, right? We multiply our mouse sensitivity times our DPI. So for me, I play on 400 DPI and I have a 2.0 in-game sensitivity, so my edpi is around 800. And now this is very standard for professional players, and it kind of sits right in the middle on what players use. I'll show you guys a site. It's called CSGO Pro Settings. And you can go through and look at every pro's EDPI. That's the most important thing to look at. Don't really look at their in-game sense, whatever, because like I said, EDPI is the most important. And you can kind of get a gauge for what most pros use, or you can sort it by oppers and see what oppers use. But honestly, for me, I'm actually kind of on the lower end for oppers with the 800 EDPI. But I find that it works best for me. Now, guys, what's going to work best for you, right? So when I first started playing, I really wanted to play on a super high EDPI because I had a tiny mouse pad. I didn't have much space. And in order for me to play the game effectively, I had to play on super high EDPI because it just wouldn't work otherwise, right? So for those of you that are limited to your space, I actually recommend that you play on a higher sensitivity. I would say, go to the upwards of 1200, 13, 1400 EDPI. And some of you think, what, that's the high EDPI? For me, that's, I play on so much higher. But guys, I'm telling you, if you play much higher than that, it's going to be very hard for you to stay consistent. And I get it that you might be insane and you might feel like this, but at the end of the day, that may be too high, and I wouldn't recommend going much higher than that, right? So if you're on limited space, bump up your DPI or bump up your in-game sensitivity, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. You're not going to run off your mouse pad as much and have those problems. Now, guys, if you have a lot of space, if you have the luxury of having as much space as you want, again, I would recommend going towards the average, more 800 EDPI, somewhere around there, a little less, a little more. That's what most players find is the best. And if you're opping, I would bump it up a little higher, maybe 800 to 1000 EDPI, I'd say. I want to go much lower just so you can hit some really nice flicks with it. But Yeah, so if you have a luxury of having a lot of space, I would just go for the average. Now let's talk about what type of aimers you are, right? If you are a wrist aimer, guys, I would 100% recommend again playing on high EDPI, because wrist aiming is going to be very flicky, and you're not going to want to move your mouse as much. So having that higher sensitivity is going to help you out and help you hit the farther away shots, and be more optimized within your gameplay, right? If you are someone like me who aims mostly with their arms, right? If you are aiming with your arm, I would 100% recommend playing on a lower sensitivity, right? And for those of you who are rifling, I would actually recommend playing on a lower EDPI, especially if you're an arm aimer, because you can be much more consistent and hit those tight angles, and not be as shaky when you're rifling if you have a lower EDPI. There is some riflers out there in the professional scene that play on insanely low EDPIs. I'm talking like 400 EDPI, 500 EDPI. I think this is way too low, but clearly you can make it work. If you're rifling, why not, right? You just pretty much need to focus on what's in front of your screen. The only problem with playing on a lower EDPI is that you're not going to have the ability to flick around real fast and hit someone behind you. But a lot of professional players have the game sense and awareness to know where to aim and kind of what places to put themselves into, so they don't even have to worry about flicking around that fast, and they are already so good at the game, and they can just make sure that they are even better because they don't have to worry about their crosshair shaking or moving around, especially in high pressure situations. They look so calm and collected. So guys, find out what EDPI is going to be best for you. Find out what style that fits you the most. If you're a less experienced player, I find that people tend to play on super high EDPIs. Like I said, it's not going to be good for you in the long run, and I would totally recommend sliding yourself somewhere towards the average. Now let's talk about zoom sensitivity, guys. For those of you that are opping, I would just leave it on 1. Don't even start messing with it and getting yourself in your head about this setting. Again, personal preference, but most players, over 60-70% of oppers, choose to just leave this on 1. Make sure you guys always have raw input on as well. Make sure this is never turned off, and also mouse acceleration is off. These are very important settings to have inside of your game to make sure that there's no outside factors impacting what you want. And especially mouse acceleration, guys. I know that some popular pro players have used it in the past, like Swag on Cloud9, but you see what happened to him. He got banned for using it. No, I'm just kidding, but it's just not good to use, guys. Trust me. Even if some of your favorite pros in the past have used it, it's garbage, man. It's so garbage for consistency, and you're never going to get better playing with it on. So my recommendation is turn that off and leave it as that. But yeah, guys, like I said, at the end of the day, this is all personal preference. Find out what works best for you. Maybe I'm absolutely wrong with this, but I think I have a good idea on what I'm talking about with this topic. So if you're looking for ideas or you're struggling to find consistency, definitely watch this video and learn from it. I guess you've already watched it, but learn from it and really put these these settings into practice and see if it works out for you. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. You guys are all awesome. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Check out my socials. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.